February 26, 2024, Tualatin City Council work session. We have a very abbreviated work session tonight. We'll go ahead and do an agenda review and roundtable. Does anyone have a question about the items on consent? All right, and I don't believe we have any proclamations tonight. I have the Pledge of Allegiance as Council Brooks tonight. All right. An item left from last city council meeting was to appoint 3 people to be on the council rules subcommittee. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out to, do I have 3 volunteers to start off with? Like a Kobe out of that. My God, tongue-tied. Councilor Gonzalez, Councilor Sacco.
And Councilor Hillier already expressed.
And Councilor Hillier? Okay. So those are the 3 we're okay with? We're thus appointed. And I guess you work with Kevin on dates and stuff like that to begin the process?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I've never obviously done this before since I've only been here since last August, but I believe I'll be spearheading this and I'll be working with our legal assistant to set up some times for our first meeting, and we will set the agenda at that time and see where you want to go from there.
Right. The last time we did this with Sean Brady, I believe we met 3 times for hour and a half at a pop, and then by the 3rd meeting, we had the list of amendments to the council rules, and that was brought back for discussion and vote, but it was at least 3 meetings, remember that. All right. With that, that brings us to the round table. So we'll go ahead and start off with Councilor Gonzalez.
I have nothing new to share.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing new to share at this time.
All right. Councilor Brooks.
I have a few things to share. It's been a little while since I was in here last council meeting, but I wanted to thank everybody that participated in the advance, first of all, and I'm excited about the goals that we're going to accomplish this year, and I'm really proud of the things that we've accomplished in the previous years. I also wanted to acknowledge that I was at 2 meetings quite a while ago, one for the Water Consortium and one for the PAB, which is the Policy Advisory Board. With the Policy Advisory Board, it's particularly exciting because our city presented for one of the community development block grants, and so we voted, and it's official that the city was approved. And the thing that I really wanted to point out is that we had quite a crew that showed up, and they talked to me a little bit afterwards, and we kind of went over how they did. And when you look at the scoring sheets, and I hope they have, their presentation was well above their competitor, even though there was funding for both. So I just really encourage them to take a look at that, and thank you for all the enthusiasm. And I hope that we go for more, that we're using that pot of money from the county in good ways, and we have more of an opportunity now that there's allocations that are separate for Hillsborough, Beaverton, and partially Tigard. So we're like one of the big players in this now. And then finally, I wanted to thank everyone, and I wish I had the list, but it was a really busy weekend. But we had all the finalists for the proposal for the sculptures for the Veterans Plaza this weekend. There were site visits with just the artists. There's 2 pedestals, which is one proposal, and a centerpiece, which is the second proposal. And we had 3 bids for each one that were in the finalists. All the artists that presented were amazingly not only talented, but inspired to present and create their models and ideas. And the Veterans Committee itself, which is made up partially of the Arts Committee and also of the veterans that have been involved with this project, we came to a consensus in a really great way as a community. And what people said in many different forms was, if you were just to watch the news, You would think that people that have different ideas can't work together and solve problems in a respectful way with decorum, and treat each other really well. And our community, in my mind, challenges us as a council as well to live up to the standards that our community showed in this process. Everyone spoke about how they felt, but it was so positive. Nobody made anybody feel bad about their ideas or opinions. And I always just find it such a privilege to be in this seat, working in this community with this council, this staff, but really our community. So this is going to be the first Parks Bond project. It's going to be like our little bit of a kickoff. I hope it's not official who was selected yet. I might know, but I'm not telling. And until it's signed on the dotted line, and I'm sure we'll hear about it. But I just want people to really know that not only is it a kickoff for our Parks Bond work, that's going to be really exciting in a new freshening of our parks, but also of the downtown Cora work that we're doing as well. So I hope that, the community is patient while we're doing the work, but is excited as we are about it getting done. And I want to thank especially to Ross Hoover and Heidi Marks and Julie Ludeman, who did a fantastic job. Thanks.
Councilor Sacco.
Thank you. On February 13th, I attended the WRWC, where I'm currwilly serving as chair. We went over the financial statements and then adopted the budget for our next fiscal year. We reviewed the Willamette River Basin feasibility study, and we were given an update on the water rights certification project. And then on February 20th, I attended the IDEA committee meeting, and the meeting, the bulk of it was really just defining the committee's mission, vision, and value statements, and then landing on our committee ground rules as well. And then on the 21st, attended the Byram CIO meeting, which is a very passionate group. My main takeaway from there is that there's just a lot of concerns with traffic with the new development going in. So I just want to make sure that we keep an eye on those concerns as they either possibly come to fruition. But I thought everybody there did a fantastic job. There was great speakers, and I feel like everybody, the staff that was there, really listened to their concerns and addressed their concerns. So I really appreciated that. That's it.
Councilor Reyes.
No official meeting in the last couple of weeks. Thank you.
Council President Pratt.
I had 3 different things. The C4 Metro meeting where we talked about the regional transportation plan, which is the use of federal funds, and that they're going to relook at their policies and directives, and they want to include tolling and RMPP in those. Then a C4 tolling committee, we had a presentation by Mandy Putney from ODOT, and that got a little contentious and was the same non-answer type situation. They are going to have a supplemental environmental analysis for the new version of what they're doing without the third lane. So they're planning to, have public input sometime between now and the summer, and then they're expecting an answer in the fall. In our group, after she left, we're going to present to C4 at the beginning of the month that we would like a letter asking for a 60-day window for public input, because last time, what did they wanted 2 weeks or something, and we asked for 60 days, and it ended up being 45, so hopefully. And then the idea is we'll come back to the cities if that doesn't work and keep pushing. And then the last one was I had a meeting with the mayor on the tolling poll results, and I'll let him talk about that one.
That will be on the March 11th agenda,
Yeah,
by the way.
Chad's coming. Not Chad.
John Horvick, yeah.
On the 14th, Maria did a terrific job at Rotary. giving the state of the city, giving an update to the Rotary, and you did a phenomenal job. On the 15th, I attended the State of Economy for the Portland Chamber of Commerce. The good news was, Portland is starting to dig out of the situation it's in. It's going to take a little bit of time. They've realigned the comparison cities for Portland. They're no longer comparing themselves to cities such like Austin. It's more now like Minneapolis, Salt Lake City. Seattle still stays because it's so close. But it's a work in progress, but things are slowly getting better, but not as fast, obviously, as people want. I mentioned last time, every Friday, the League of Oregon Cities is doing the legislative call to give everyone an update what's going on in Salem. There's only 2 weeks left for the short session. On the 21st, went to the Greater Portland Board meeting where Microchip gave a presentation. They just recently got some CHIPS money, I think $75 million of CHIPS money to expand their facility out in Gresham. The director of GPI rolled out her new metrics that she'll be evaluated against. And we looked at the 2023 budget. They ended the year a few $100,000 in the hole, but they had cash reserves to cover that, and they're still awaiting a state grant that was awarded back in the last session, still hasn't gotten here yet. That evening, Byram CIO, Councilor Sacco did a great job presenting at the event. On the 22nd, the MMC had another review of the legislative session. We were particularly focused in on the two big hot subjects. One is the governor's bill, SB 1537 of housing, and Measure 110 reform. They're now up to the Dash 13 amendment on the governor's bill. The $200,000 for infrastructure is now gone. It's been taken away. They call it the HAPO, but it's the Housing Productivity Office. An agreement has been made that it is not going to be a punitive agency to shame cities and fine cities for not reaching their goals. It's going to be more cooperative, and that they'll assist cities in reaching the governor's goal. The MMC has switched its support because of the money being taken out to neutral. The reading of the tea leaves is that this bill is going to pass this time. There's only the two big organizations that are against it are two environmental agencies. Organizations still do not like the UGB provisions, but based on the lobbyist vote counts, it's going to pass this time. Oh, keeps going. It's great. They're doing a lot of technical changes. They're playing games with special money being set aside for special projects in cities. It's not a general fund. It's very specific. They also cut the budget for that housing office by half, from $10 million to $5 million. So they're trying to be honest, they're working the House to get the votes, get it to where they need it to get. Measure 110 reform, pretty interesting that the Chief Justice weighed in on some of the issues on the bill. So they had to make changes to that bill to address those concerns. They have addressed the 11 recommendations from the public safety lobbyists, the sheriffs and DAs and League of Oregon Cities that we went over. Those have been implemented. If it doesn't morph again, right now you're basically looking at they're looking at enforcement. Will be basically county by county. The DA will pretty much set the policy for the county as far as if a police officer has the discretion either to arrest or deflect. That's the new term, is deflect into alternative treatments. That'd be a process that they're looking for cities to sign on that, based from Washington County down to us, that we have a list of policies that our police department will implement on, giving guidance to police officers in that decision. They're going to make possession be recriminalized with a maximum of 180 days in jail, but no one's envisioning that ever happening based on jail capacity. You might get sentenced to 30 days and be released after 5 to community corrections, which there's a lot of concerns that community corrections can't handle it based on that, especially in Washington County. So they're looking for letters of support from cities and police departments on this latest version of the bill, because they worked a long, hard way to get it this far. The other thing they're going to do is a 72-hour hold versus 48 when someone's put into treatment. That gives them more time to detox. And then they're going to lower the possession. Is it down to 5 fentanyl pills they're talking about now versus 8 would be a misdemeanor? So they're trying to make it, a lot easier for police officers to, charge someone with this. So this is still going to morph over the next 2 weeks. I have a feeling that this one also will pass in some form. So pay attention to the next couple weeks. We're getting great updates from Thorn Run. Appreciate that. And finally, today we released the tolling results. The survey that was, held by DHM. No surprise, most people are against tolling. They particularly do not like RMPP, the surge pricing. What I pointed out and was interesting to me is that Clackamas County is always against tolling, but once you throw in 26 and 217, Washington County goes from 60% against it to 80% against it. And Multnomah County also goes up because they're big users of 26 also. So press release was sent out today. I emailed you the results of the survey. Feel free to share it wide and everywhere else. We're talking about how we're going to move on with this with the legislature to show them the numbers. Don't know if it's going to move the needle a little bit, but at least we have some data that we can point to rather than just word of mouth. And the other thing I liked about it that was fantastic is the 4 reasons that ODOT is putting out for why tolling is important. All of them got shot down by 70%. People saying that was toll, didn't agree with it, and it wasn't the case. And finally, last thing, was it 70% of folks said there's no public transportation available to them? Yeah, it was crazy high that there's no plan for public transit, and all the response said there is no alternative with public transit that would help them navigate tolling. So, pretty enlightening stuff. DHM will be here presenting the results to us March 11th. It's going to be interesting. All right. Last thing, as I think a lot of you already know, the new mayor of Durham is Keith Jenke. I've met him a couple of times. He has been on Durham City Council for quite a while. And I think we're all aware that Mayor Fender and the 3 other city councilors in King City, it still appears that they're all going to be recalled. March 6th will be the final results, the official results. And speaking with Mayor Fender, they'll pretty much, I think they've got 2 more meetings left, and then the 4 of them will step aside, and the 3 remaining city councilors will appoint the 4 seats, plus pick a new mayor. And that's it for me. So it gives us about 5 minutes left to go ahead and conclude this work session, and we'll come back at 7 o'clock.